Welcome, everybody, to tonight's show for the Titan Esports Vanquisher League. I am What's Birdie, and joining me today is my co-caster for the entirety of this split, Golden Gad. GG, how you doing today?
Doing good. You know, we've had a couple on weeks, off weeks between the two of us, and then a full off week in the last one, unfortunately. Cannot actually grab a producer for that one, so here we are for playoffs, of course, and now we're past already the round of 16. We're into the round of 8. This is where the serious stakes lie. These teams are both seated here, with Boomers over Zoomers being the one who to prevail in the round of 16. Meanwhile, GGS, also known as SynGG, Go Next, was immediately seeded into this particular match here. So a little bit cold, perhaps. Maybe they've been scrimming on the side, but we'll have to see how that actually ends up playing out here in this quarterfinals.
Yeah, if you looked at the content as well that was posted in our wonderful Discord server by Dwam, who's been doing some excellent content work all season long, there have been some... You know what? You're absolutely right. That's on me. There's been a lot of behind-the-scenes talk and questions about this, about both of these rosters. Honestly, for Boomers over Zoomers, there's been questions of who's going to be running the mid lane this week between Humor and I know the other person's name. I was just looking at it. between either Humor or their substitute support, and there was also questions of potential behind-the-scenes concerns for this SynGG composition, the team in general having maybe some drama going on behind the scenes. We're going to hope that that doesn't affect them on the Rift today, and we're hoping for a good best of 5, as we're jumping pretty much straight into the draft. Teams are ready, we're ready. Let's get to it.
Yeah, they're going quick here through it all. We got Mbessa, a very logical flex pick. We've even been seeing this champion in the bot lane, honestly, so makes no mistake. The game has changed a little bit in the 3 weeks that we've either casted with or without each other. It's definitely completely changed up according to how MSI kind of played out these early roaming supports. Camille, Bard, Pyke, these things are here to stay. So we're seeing a lot of targeting towards the traditional strong bot lanes, just in case they wanted to play a little bit more of a, roaming style that does allow them. So now we have a lot of space in the draft. Could just immediately lock up something like Camille. That's what we do see a lot, but it also is a very risky strategy if you're not exactly well practiced as the support. Especially, you give that much creative freedom to any player, and that's going to be difficult. So we are just seeing a pretty standard Wukong opening here. It is pretty susceptible to something like a Xin Zhao, which is kind of the traditional answer here. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it. It could also be a Nocturne as well, but we are going to be seeing Solbert's Kog'Maw. Obviously, what Solbert is known for the most. The Kog'Maw is indeed also the tag. First choice. And they said, screw the roaming meta, we're playing Kog'Maw, and we're playing Melio. So it's going to be a full-on, just, hey, we're playing Protect the Kog'Maw comp. What can Boomers over Zoomers do about it?
And honestly, I don't hate this for SynGG. I do appreciate the willingness to just slam a comfort comp in this first game. We did get an update. It is not Humor who's going to be in the mid lane. It's Homegrown Talent. That was their substitute who's going to be stepping in here. So there is a question of how well can a substitute do when they step in? How much pressure are you going to be under jumping into a round of 8? But on the other side, again, Solber's Kog'Maw, there is a potential for AP Kog'Maw if you have some other AD sources in your composition. If you end up drafting a little bit more Bruisery and a little bit less Protect the Puppy. But with the Sylas around, especially seeing Mordekaiser and Wukong, that's already a couple of great ults. And especially, it disincentivizes a lot of the engaged support ultimates that normally would be picked. Something like your Leona's, Nautilus is already gone, but Alistar especially.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see Sylas so early. Usually you save this pick as a counter pick that could potentially get flexed to top lane if you do pick up something safe like a Gnar, but with the Mord already locked in, maybe they're thinking it's an okay matchup there, and then they can kind of flex it with this after they see what the mid pick ends up being here for Boomers over Zoomers. There is potential there. We are seeing some strong bot laners getting taken away. Karma, Vel'Koz, things that really outrange the Kog'Maw, make that life much more difficult, getting banned away immediately. So they really want to play around it, and it seems like that's what their strategy will be here. With Zehen getting banned away, makes sense. It's a strong pick into the Mord, and then I'm surprised to see Rek'Sai banned, but maybe just a little bit of extra matchup knowledge that I'm not familiar with, but it will just be the Ornn. We're indexing full Protect the Kog'Maw with the Sylas variable on top.
I like it. I think the only thing that I'd question for this draft is maybe you do let the Vel'Koz through and you ban away something like Bard as a good roaming support that could take advantage of Kog'Maw being so weak in the laning phase and Ezreal being so self-sufficient. But they're going to opt for the Braum instead, who will be good versus not only the Ornn, but also just the Kog'Maw in general. Tanky frontliner with damage mitigation. And speaking of damage mitigation, Yasuo Wukong as the mid-jungle duo here, Homegrown Talent and God's Glory, showing up for game number 1 and saying, hey, we're just going to lock in a combo and see how we do.
Yeah, it's also a pretty good matchup into the Sylas in particular, so we're actually going to see immediately flex to the jungle here, so it's going in Guo's hands, and will be the victor to counter the Yasuo. So now, Homegrown Talent in a much more difficult position here against Z-Struck, so I'll have to see whether he's able to navigate it. Victor obviously can get through win wall, so that's obviously the hardest part of the matchup. But on top of that, now we do have a Sylas into the Wukong. That's actually pretty good for Sylas, considering, Wukong's more of a hard farming champion. You're trying to get to that level 6. Well, Sylas needs the time to get to the items to be able to clear quickly and also exert pressure across the map. So I'm excited to get into game 1 here of our quarterfinals. And
my big concern coming into this game, SynGG has drafted a lot of losing lanes, and they have a jungler who can't really do anything to help them out. Boomers over Zoomers are going to have the laning phase advantages. Yeah, mid lane, Homegrown Talent versus Z-Struck is going to be kind of annoying, but if Z-Struck is playing too aggressive, Homegrown Talent will just be able to run on him, get a couple of autos off, take advantage of the flow shield, and make his life difficult. we're not expecting Peels to have a good time versus Fire Ping on this Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser is great versus these top lane tanks. And Kog'Maw Melio, Kog'Maw's not a threat in the early game, but when you're matching up versus Ezreal Braum, you kind of have to assume that the Ezreal will win out on a lot of these trades.
Yeah, that is the general assumption when you do see Ezreal. Kog'Maw, obviously, we don't see too often. Pretty much the only team in Pro that plays it is going to be G2 occasionally. But they generally save it for a final pick where the bot lane isn't too strong to avoid scenarios like this. Luckily, they did ban away the Karma, so you don't end up playing into that kind of comp. But it's still not going to be the easiest, especially considering in the mid game, when Mordekaiser shows up to these fights, yeah, you probably can't duel the Kog'Maw, but you can very easily steal away the Melio that keeps the Kog'Maw safe. And that's also going to be pretty scary for that champion. So, you know, there's definitely some good outs here for Boomers over Zoomers.
Yeah, even just getting rid of the Ornn during the team fight, just not allowing Kog'Maw to have that big frontline presence, who he's honestly the only frontline presence that Kog'Maw really has, unless Guo goes for a little bit more of a bruisery-style Sylas build. Trying to just play a little bit more frontline as opposed to the AP bruiser, like, pseudo-assassin that we see out of Sylas so often.
Yeah, and I think that would be probably a mistake. You do still need to be able to get through all these carries, and assuming you're going to lose one no matter what to a Yasuo combo, it's a good thing to have as many as possible in the back of your pocket here. So, yeah, it's definitely just going to be some hard to navigate fights here for Sin, but I do foresee them probably surviving this early game since, you know, they're dealing with a Wukong at the end of the day who can't really exert as much pressure as other junglers.
Yeah, my big curiosity is what the lanes are going to do while they have this priority, as we see homegrown talent hold this wave here, take advantage of the early wind wall, which, like you said, doesn't do a lot versus the Victor, the Q2 proc plus the Death Laser. Not things that you can block because they are not projectiles, they are just... I think they're described as beams, technically, but all I know is they're ranged attacks that aren't projectiles.
Yeah, lasers go through it, so that includes like Lux ult, Senna auto. Not sure why that one's a laser.
Vel'Koz ultimate as well, but not the W, even though it goes underground, which is fine.
Yep. You know, I get the rationale here, but also the W, I guess, has a fixed point in space. Guo now gonna see God's Glory.
Yeah, immediately bonk over the head with the staff, but God's Glory should win this 1v1 pretty handily early in the game. Guo's gonna be forced to flash out. Z-Struck there for the defense, but just too little too late, and God's Glory will take that Raptor steal. Tempo Flash in the area as well, but just providing a small bit of healing with that Cozy Campfire. It's not late game Melio, you're not healing a quarter of a health bar with that thing just yet.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense there. You saw Sylas eating into the pit, and God's Glory, just letting the Raptors do the work on top of the trade. It did come through. Soulbird has to be careful here.
Yeah, with the AD carry out of position, with that support roaming, it is going to be Gurney doing plenty of damage down on this Ezreal. Jean-Marquet will do some good chunk on the way back, but Tempo Flash gets back in time to make the trade at least even, if not losing.
Yeah, it's at least a good trade, but it does cost you 2 summoners there, so the heal and the barrier is exhausted there, so it does open up a little bit of potential if the level 6s come up on time here for the bot lane. We are seeing TP towards mid, so Victor getting a nice reset here is down gold at this stage of the game. The Yasuo actually doing a great job of holding wave and making Z-Struck really feel the pressure because you're kind of dealing with this weaker Sylas jungle. Doesn't really want to walk up and risk a potential death early on when this matchup, despite being Victor favored, is actually quite volatile. If Yasuo gets a couple kills, you know how that goes, so definitely trying to play it safe more than anything.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about with the early game Yasuo, because Victor does need time and items to really get online. And in the early game, yeah, he'll be minorly annoying, but especially with Deathfire Touch, he's not really going to be doing a ton of damage if homegrown talent is just able to sustain. And with the new Doran's Bow item, it's a lot easier to actually do. Combine that with the Flow Shield and the Exhaust, which we've already seen homegrown talent use in that early scuffle. It just makes it a lot easier for these melees to actually take advantage of these weak early game laners, which I think is good for the game, although it may not be good for Z-Struck in this game as he's trying to get closer and closer to parity with this Yasuo.
Yeah, we do see Guo on the bot side. Is on a ward here, so not going to be seeing anything. God's Glory now sneaking in. I'm not sure if...
Unspotted entirely.
I don't think Sin's going to be expecting this one.
Yeah, Solbert has no idea. He's going to walk up. There's the clone. Can John Marquis get in range to get that passive off? Flash away from Solbert. Will deny that one. Tries to get a couple of autos back. Gets God's Glory down to about half HP, and that will give Guo the Scuttle Crab at the very least, but consolation prize for your bottom laner losing their flash.
Yeah, that's at least something. Guo doesn't hit level 6 off that because of the lost Raptor camp earlier on, so a pretty rough look there. If that's level 6, I guarantee you he's probably going up in, even though Z-Struck doesn't have much mana. So just a little bit unfortunate there.
This Raptor camp should get him to level 6, so maybe we can see a little bit more threat from the Sylas on the map. I'm a little bit concerned for Boomers over Zoomers because they do have these winning lanes and they're getting a small gold lead up just about a couple hundred, but I was hoping to see them advance a little bit more. I mean, Guo has been able to essentially free-farm his way to level 6 now. Yeah, you lost one Raptor camp, but if you're hitting level 6 at the same time as God's Glory does and the Wukong doesn't get a gank off, how much does that level 6, that extra one camp that you lost, really matter?
Yeah, if anything, it just saves a little bit of resources here for mid, but yeah, I think overall you're happy with the game being super even on the early game, considering you're dealing with an Ezreal and a Wukong and a Yasuo, and especially the Mordekaiser on the top side. Peel's doing a good job of just ensuring survival, and will catch up a wave here just to, get the CS back to even.
Always prioritizing that early magic resist with this AP top lane. It's going to be a little bit worse later on because it is triple AD for Boomers over Zoomers. The Ezreal, Yasuo, and Wukong all doing plenty of physical as Homegrown. Looking for a trade here, but nice use of the gravity well by Z-Struck to dissuade any of that extra damage. But again, we're just seeing what Yasuo can do when he's not really pressured in the early game. I saw the Victor, and I understand that this is like range versus melee matchup. Victor gets to kind of free farm. But at the same time, it's still Yasuo. He takes advantage of these weak ranged carries early on in the game. There's a reason why champions like Orianna have such a difficult time versus a good Yasuo, especially, which Homegrown Talent has shown in this laning phase to be, at minimum, proficient on.
Yeah, definitely looking good. I'm seeing some clean movement. All that being said, we are seeing Dragon getting taken here for the Boomers, and, I'm a little bit concerned. I think generally in a different type of draft, you'd be able to, flex your support over, but Melio really is such a lane-centric support. You really can't be having him roam over and helping the Victor, which is typically what you would see in this current meta. So it's kind of just resulted in Victor being in an island just because you didn't lock the expected Xin Zhao answer into the Wukong. So, it just causes this kind of weird position where you don't have much map control. Despite the lane seemingly supposed to be good, but it's just kind of what they're playing with.
I think this has to be the latest First Blood that we have seen on Titan Broadcast Display. We've had a lot of very bloody games. I don't think we've seen one that has been this slow in some time. I want to say at least since last split, if not the one before.
Yeah, it definitely is much slower than typical. We've had a lot of bloodbaths, and Homegrown Talent's trying to add to that.
Talent trying to change that last breath onto Z-Struck. Lethal Tempo fully stacked, but with no wave to try and push the advantage any further, it is just going to be walking away. In the meantime, Zoomers on the top side, moving up towards the Grubs, just trying to keep the neutrals in their favor. God's Glory and Homegrown should just be able to finish these off with no contest.
Yeah, good pressure there from Homegrown Talent just to force out some HP there to guarantee some free Grubs. Grubs obviously not the strongest, but when it's free, you'll take it nonetheless, so I'm not going to be worrying too much about that one here. At least on the other side of the map, bot lane, very even CS-wise. Top lane, however, is a little bit growing in that lead department here, 93 CS to 72 with the Dark Seal in the inventory for the Mord, so yeah, going to be curious to see whether he's able to extend that. Homegrown Talent, I'm sure the gold right now is even higher just with that 2 plates also in his pocket, so going to be feeling really strong, and when Yasuo doesn't really get inhibited in the early game, that's really the scariest part of it. So makes me think like maybe the draft would have been better if you just forced the Sylas Yasuo matchup and lock something like a Vi, for instance, and just play really strong towards killing the Yasuo repeatedly. Was gonna dodge out on that one, Guo not actually wanting to pull the trigger, so we'll be able to just walk it out there.
And about the story of this game one, team's not really willing to pull the trigger on anything in particular. It has been a very slow game, and honestly, I think if you're GG's, you're kind of happy with that. I know we're looking at these lane states and we're seeing CS losses in mid and in top, but the lane that I think worries me the most for Boomers over Zoomers is this bottom lane. The fact that Solbert, despite Tempo Flash roaming up early on, despite all of the pressure, is even and now ahead in CS versus Gritty and Jean-Marquis. This is a rough spot for this Ezreal Braum lane to be in that was expected to kind of just win this 2v2, and now I think are really needing a lot of jungle influence.
Yeah, God's Glory trying to sneak into the lane once again, but a nice use of the artillery fire there from Solbert to get out of it. Solbert walking pretty dangerously forward.
Glory is going to get spotted, not in range for that Warrior Trickster jump in. So they know the Wukong's in the area now, so it's just a matter of what happens on the rest of the map, because we haven't really seen junglers punished for moving at all at this point in the game.
Yeah, I'm surprised to not see the trigger get pulled a little bit earlier. Peels has to be careful. I'm surprised Fire Ping didn't just immediately click R there, considering there was no W left on Peels, so he's been pretty free to chunk out the full HP bar.
Yeah, we'll get a healthy chunk back regardless. Peel's under half HP, but with all that magic resist, not feeling too threatened. Guo now steals up that Death Realm, but just dashes over the wall with the Abscond Abduct, gets away from Fire Ping.
Yeah, if you know
your... timer is extending over 12 minutes!
Yeah, if you know your unique interactions, when Sylas ults Mordekaiser in Death Realm, it just brings them back to the regular realm, so a little bit of counterplay available to Sylas.
Wait, I didn't know that, actually.
Compared to other champions, yeah. Because
I've always known the Sylas and Mordekaiser, if they ult two different targets, they go put into the same Death Realm as. Speaking of Death Realm, Z-Struck is going to be sent there! First blood! 12 minutes, 30 seconds in, it goes to homegrown talent!
Yeah, there you go. A little bit of a combination play. No getting out of that one for the victor, especially with no flash available. So we'll just be able to grab that up. And it's going to translate perfectly into the Dragon in 25, especially with Sylas showing on the top side. So it's going to be definitely a much easier contest here. Tempo Flash just utilizing the range advantage to get some extra warding down, but still going to be much more favored here for Boomer. But yeah, Solbert obviously is the timer. We got Bork already completed, but the Trinity for the Ezreal is also done, so it's not actually that terrible. Whoa, now
in the Death Round, God's Glory and Z-Struck are in the area, but Homegrown already taken so low. With Temple Flash now in the area, Homegrown should just be finished off. One more auto to come through. Z-Struck will take that with the Deathfire touch, and now God's Glory the one in trouble. One more Death Laser to come through. The autos, it's just enough damage. Heal coming in to keep Guo alive, and Jean-Marquis cannot get enough done. The Flash and the heal expended, but nothing doing is in the meantime, Solbert taking Gritty in the 1v1 on the bottom lane. Life is only getting worse for this Ezreal.
Yeah, Guo finds a nice angle there. You know, I was just talking about how the Dragon should be pretty much guaranteed, but, you know, with Guo making a good play like that and going 2 for nothing in the mid lane, they will be able to grab, kind of just steal away the Dragon despite the tempo advantage that Boomer had. Just a little bit of a sloppy play here for them, and will result in the gold getting a little bit closer, and of course the Dragon going over.
I mean, if you're playing this scaling comp for GG's, you are so happy that this early game has been so slow. Losing that first blood means practically nothing in the long term. Yeah, he also gets 1 kill, but that's essentially meaningless. There wasn't a lot of other gold given over, and now you're starting to get your 1 item, 1.5 item spikes. Your Kog'Maw's online. Your Victor's starting to get there. Got those 2 free kills. Whoa, practically went uncontested in the jungle. Now has a CS lead over God's Glory. This is a perfect scaling composition, and I'm kind of disappointed that Boomers over Zoomers didn't do anything to really take advantage of these non-winning scaling composition lanes. As we're gonna get a trade here. Both ultimates burn, but Solbert and Tempo Flash doing a nice job of sidestepping every little bit of damage. Gritty dashes in, but Solbert has the warm hugs, able to just be cleansed out of that stun. Meantime, Guo getting traded on. There's the last breath. Guo has his own last breath, but will he actually be able to get it off? There he goes, gets his own knockup into the gravity wall. Z-Struck there for the support, and so is Tempo Flash. Solbert in a little bit of trouble, has to be careful of all the damage. Ezreal, like you said, that Trinity Force completed. He's no laughing matter, but everyone from GG's will walk out, and it's just another free kill for Sin.
Well played. They were able to kind of get away from the bot lane pressure and immediately walk towards that play by homegrown talent, and unfortunately the team behind him, Guo, not going to go down, finds the last breath on the tail end there, and lives to tell the tale. They are going to get a lot of plates here, so realistically the gold kind of swinging back the other way, kind of trading back over kind of all that gold they gained from getting that kill initially. So But, you know, this is the first time in this entire game that Sin actually has a gold lead, so they're definitely feeling good about this one.
Yeah, and all this gold going on to Z-Struck, too. Pretty much the second best member that you want this gold to be on, the first best being Solbert, obviously, but your Victor getting items and getting gold and getting a lead, you're never going to be upset about us. Heals now potentially baiting here for Fire Ping. Death Realm stolen out. There's the call to Forge God. Fire Ping uses his own Death Realm, and they're right back to it. Guo counter ults to steal the stats back.
Oh, maybe they changed
it. Away from the pole, but Fire Ping sustaining up, can't get enough damage down. Guo with his own sustain thanks to the Conqueror will stay alive. Heals now trading versus God's Glory, but Wukong, even with full magic resist on that Ornn, is not doing enough this early in the game. I think the interaction is whoever ultimates first, yeah, you steal more stats. It's kind of like Trundle versus Stolen Trundle ultimate. You just want to be the first to ult second. As we saw there, Guo was pretty damn strong in that 1v1.
Yeah, of course. A little bit of a... I swear that was changed. I swear. This was one of those, like, Silas debunk stuff when first came out, so wouldn't be surprised if it changed, honestly, but could also just be misinformation central over here. As we do see the Rift Herald go the way of Boomer. The ult could potentially have gone for an ult there, but doesn't actually. Z-Struck will be able to just walk away from that.
Which I think makes
hey, who
sense.
knows?
I mean, there is the actual smart positioning with the Yasuo ultimate, which will always put you outside of turret range if you are ulting someone who is under it, or it will put you as far away from the turret as it can. If it can put you outside of turret range, it will, which is actually... It leads to a lot of situations where mid laners feel safe, but then Yasuo hits the Q3 under turret, and then he's ulting and not taking tower shots, which means the Yasuo can get that successful dive. It's a nice little bit of an interaction, but in the meantime, it is going to be that mid lane turret looks like dropping in favor of Z-Struck. So first turret going over to Sin, and again, more gold into the pocket of this Victor, who has come back to this CS deficit quite nicely.
Yeah, still not completely evened up just because of the coal as well in the inventory of the Yasuo, and especially now with that turret going down, but he'll feel pretty happy about the gold being pretty much dead even now in mid lane, despite how it went early on, so...
Yeah, it's actually 200 up, which is, you know, given the lead that he also had, again, that finished call, it feels a little absurd to say that the Victor has a gold lead here, but 3 kills, getting that full turret. The Victor is starting to feel pretty nice. 2 items now complete, and he's going to start really burning through these BOZ members.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit disappointed to see the Mordekaiser especially not really do too much in this lane. I know Ornn is the great equalizer, of course, but it is still something that you would have wanted to leverage earlier on. God's Glory just going to pull the Rift Herald here on the bot side. They want to push out just a little bit more gold towards that bot side, but now they have to walk the Herald all the way up. So going to be curious. They are looking to create a fight here in the banana bush, but we do already have peels in the area with Mordekaiser still running over as quick as possible, but will inevitably be late. This one.
Stolen Glacial Fissure, Guo hanging onto that Braum ult now. Rift Herald still pushing in the bottom side, taken low, but not taken down. So BOZ do have that lane pushing in their favor, and right now it is just a poke battle. Who's going to have control over this river brush? Rift Herald will eventually die on that bottom side. You see it getting lower and lower. Dragon now started up. Boomers really want to take this. They have their Wombo combo. We haven't seen the Yasuo and the Wukong connect up in a fight just yet. Ultimate lands on one nice wind wall, but it's the steal from Guo as he gets into the back line. He takes the Dragon away and escapes, but now onto the back line. Looking is Fire Ping. Picks up Tempo Flash inside the Death Realm. Now the Stolen Stats. A great pull. Finds 2 for the last breath of homegrown talent. Heals will get stunned up here. The Gravity Wall will stun Escrow back, but it will not matter. Fire Ping will pick it up. GG's take the Dragon, but Boomers take the fight.
Yeah, that is a great fight there. Big carry performance there from Fire Ping, but I will say I'm surprised to not see the ult just come down immediately on the Silas to prevent any steal shenanigans, instead prioritizing the Melio, who gives that survivability to the team instead. So, you know, just deciding who it is to be the victim means that, you know, you do allow the Dragon to go over, but at the same time, you win the fight on the tail end there with a good chase down. Now Guo wants to make it his own. Fire Ping dodges out.
Fire Ping gets away from the abscond of Ducks. The rest of the members of Boomers are here in the air, but can Fire Ping survive long enough? He can. He's now out of the Death Realm, but now with Tempo Flash in the area, Guo getting a little healing, but it's not going to do anything for him. God's Glory finds the last hit and a little over-aggression from the Sin jungler.
Yeah, and these are the kind of fights that make a Mordekaiser unkillable, as we do see the replay here. They actually get a lot of good CC here on a Guo just to start it, but unfortunately the pull comes in, and just immediately goes towards the dragons, knows the priority here, and gets out anyways. But the ult comes through onto Tempo Flash. Fireping guarantees it with the flash, and then nice pulse too into the last breath. They find the kills as they see fit. So everyone but Z-Struck and Glow going down, and unfortunately they did lose the dragon, but still you'll take that fight nonetheless here if you are the Boomers.
Yeah, I think genuinely the only thing that could have gone better for them is them getting that dragon, and it was a great steal by Glow. I thought that wind wall from Homegrown Talent was going to cancel out any chance that he had, but makes it into the backline regardless, using the Abscond Abduct plus the Proto Belt as well. Proto Belt, is this like still insanely broken? Like, I feel like we're still seeing almost every... it did get touched a little bit, if I remember, but I know it's not getting touched up next patch, and it's still a fairly commonly built item. Dash is, it turns out, pretty good in League of Legends. Who would have thought, really?
Yeah, I mean, considering every player ever has always ran Flash in their 2 summoner loadout, so definitely makes a lot of sense.
Well, you can't say every player ever, because Yuumi players exist.
Okay, well, that's not a champion that exists in this game, so...
You know what? You're so right. That's a parasite. My bad. Have to remember my definitions here.
There are some weird ones, like, of course, you got, like, Ignite TP top laners, like Camille and Gwen, but...
Hecarim back in the day, the TP Igniter, the Ghost TP, just to try and run lanes over.
Or like...
Oh, I remember Hecarim top. That was a menace.
You know, some things are better left forgotten, really.
Old Mordekaiser?
There was also...
Oh, the Juggernaut rework?
Yeah, that was something fun for everyone.
Yeah, just, you know, Mordekaiser walking into your bottom lane with a giant pet dragon. It was not problematic at all on the slightest. It was totally fine.
Yeah. Alright, so I did take a little peep. Yeah, it did get slightly nerfed, but it's like it's got more HP, slightly less AP, and the cooldown got 10 seconds on it, which the cooldown is definitely something important, but how often do you really need... Are you going to get 2 Proto Belts in 40 seconds?
Yeah, Fireping now. With the passive on, is going to start to chase Peels down, but I don't think this Ornn is really feeling threatened. With the no Lean, no Rylai's here from Fireping, opting for a much more sustainy, bruisery build with the Dusk and Dawn plus the Riftmaker. You'll stay alive longer in fights, but your threat in the side lane, I think, is greatly diminished.
Yeah, definitely going for, like, whoever I ult is probably going to die, but your survivability and kind of chase down afterwards a little bit weaker than picking up something like a Rylai's, or as you said, the burn items as well. So opting for a bit more of the dueling build. So we do have basically a lot of duelers. We have Yasuo, we have Wukong, we have Mordekaiser, all these champs like they're isolated 1v1s, but obviously when you combine them, you got Yasuo with the last breath to actually combo with it, and you know, we'll have to see how that plays out. As now the Wukong, the Kog'Maw pretty much off the ground, having the full Navori, and you know, you would like one more item just for a bit more crit potentially, or if you know, Ginsu's, if that's what you're going probably next.
Just a little bit more damage behind him before you start getting those tank items like Terminus, Wits, and Ginsu's, just something. As we're looking at a potential Baron start here. Fireping is going to spot this one out. Very lucky timing for the Boomers, but now with the Death Realm taken, Glow and Tempo Flash, I think just waiting to see if they have to get over the wall as Fireping's in the area, as Ezreal will throw that True Shot Barrage. Tempo Flash forced to use that flash out. Dragon is up in a couple of seconds, so it looked like GG's were just looking for a potential opportunity to sneak a Baron while Dragon Vision was being set up, but no dice this time around.
Yeah, nice awareness there from Fireping, just to get away from it, and Slowbert leveraging, you know, a little bit of Kog'Maw ball knowledge, able to auto over the turret, similar to that of a Caitlyn or a Tristana, much later game, so does do some good damage here. Now Glow's gonna find Jamarquez on this play.
Immediately into the death round. Do you have the damage to actually finish off this Braum, who is not super tanky, but maybe tanky enough to just survive it? Has the locket as well. Burns the heal, burns the Glacial Fissure, and the rest of the members of the Boomers are on the way. Looking to turn it back around. Ezreal now in the area, but there's that Unbreakable. It's so difficult to take the Braum down. He will trade 1-for-1, but you've now lost your jungler. In the meantime, Fireping has found Solbert, taking him down, and he'll walk away from the Arcane Storm. It is not doing enough damage this early in the game. And now Boomers, with the sizable advantage in members and in gold, are going to start to turn to the Baron.
Yeah, and that should be a pretty free Baron here. We do have Z-Struck still in the area, so looking to do some poke, but gotta be careful. Cyclone is still available here.
Yeah, and Gritty does plenty of damage on this Ezreal with the sustain boots as well. It's so difficult to actually poke him out, but it is the Hunting Baron. It's the one that does that little bit more damage and just keeps you in the pit. There's less avenues out. The damage will come through, but it is the Smite for God's Glory. No, Shenaniganery steals from Z-Struck, who will cancel out another recall just for a little bit of fun. Looking to play around, but it is Boomers now with the Baron, and now it's just a matter of what they do with it, because we're getting to the point where the Sim members are going to be fully online. You've got your Fed Victor, you have your Kog'Maw, you have your Ornn who's handing out these ornaments. I think the window for Boomers to actually end the game is starting to close.
I think this Baron should be a really big opportunity for them. Solbert's not at that damage item, like you said, and, you know, that should provide good opportunity for them to really hard force it. And, you know, Solbert's also pretty low level, so extremely squishy. At this point, I generally think Mordekaiser should lose the 1v1 to the Solbert, but, you know, with him having a couple extra kills in his pocket to really accelerate him forward, that's definitely not going to be the case right now, so that's going to make it a lot more difficult to actually play these fights, because Solbert gets ulted, that's your Kog'Maw dead 100% of the time.
Yeah, no more QSS to get yourself out of that Mordekaiser ultimate. I'm both happy and sad that they got rid of that particular bit of counterplay. It did feel bad to just have to build the QSS to get yourself away from Mordekaiser ultimate, but as the Mordekaiser player, it's just like, well, you've paid 1,300 gold, and now I can't ult you anymore because you have this item in inventory, and that sucks. It was just no fun for anyone allowed, but now it just feels a little bit worse when you get ulted by Mordekaiser, because there's just zero counterplay to a point-and-click ability.
I mean, just win the 1v1, of course.
Yeah, playing like an Enchanter support, just win that 1v1. And speaking of 1v1s, there they go on to Solbert. They found the Kog'Maw! God's Glory with a great engage from the Cyclone! And it will whirlwind Sin away! A double kill for Homegrown Talent! Kills will get picked up as well as Homegrown's dashing through the minions. A double kill for God's Glory with the Baron buff on, and that should be game 1 to the Boomers!
Yeah, great engage there from God's Glory, just finds it, and they're going to get Z-Struck as the consolation prize, so we'll get a clean ace. Unfortunately, Joe Marquez going to go down at the very end there, and you know, we're going to still end this game 1 kind of as expected here from the drafts, just from having the weaker lanes, but they definitely gave Boomers over Zoomers a bit more trouble than basically any of us were expecting.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised with how the victory happened, but a victory nevertheless for the Boomers. God's Glory and Homegrown Talent really taking it home there in that last fight. I mean, God's Glory just finding that trigger pull, seeing Solbert just stepped up genuinely inches out of position, as we'll get a chance to look at this last fight again and see exactly how God's Glory found this angle.
Yeah, it's a good look, just goes over the wall, sees Blast Plant. Hey, that's my entry in. And Solbert walks up for that cannon minion, always so juicy, and just gets immediately ulted. No one else to target, but that's all they really need to force this one out. Whoa, not able to do enough there, and after that, it's just free pickings on these final couple members. So very well played there from God's Glory to end this one, and Solson a very nice win in game 1, in a game, as we said, you know, a little bit more difficult than we would have expected off the draft, but you know, they still get there in the end with the combination play.
Yeah. I mean, there were questions, I think, across the board for both of these teams. I don't think either of these guys played their best in this game number 1, which is sometimes kind of expected in series like this. You have a team that's coming off of a very hard-fought 5-game series versus GGs who are playing kind of cold, like you said, coming off of their bye week, and makes it a little bit more difficult to actually come into the week fully prepared, but I think there were some good moments from both of these teams, and I'm excited to see how this goes for the rest of the match as well.
Yeah, definitely excited to see how it goes. And one thing to note is neither of these teams seem to be playing those roaming support styles, so we're going to get a little bit more grounded of a experience here. No mages in the bot lane, maybe, besides Ziggs, potentially.
Please, no mages, I beg you.
No Jace in the bot lane. No Silas in the bot lane, which we also have been seeing. There's just some craziness going on, so
we're going
to get normal, grounded League of Legends in this series, and that's something to look forward to, because it's very quickly going away, according to the balance changes.
We will have to see how much more grounded League of Legends we have when we get to the other side of this break. We'll be getting ourselves into the draft for game number 2 between GG's SynGG next and Boomers over Zoomers. We'll see you there. Welcome back, everybody. We are getting ourselves underway for game number 2 between Boomers over Zoomers and SynGG Guo. Next, I'm still Pretty. That's still Golden Gad, and it was a very slow but a very methodical game number 1. And I wonder if we're going to see any stylistic changes coming here into game number 2.
Well, they've already kind of leaked it. Neither of these 80 carries are that fond of running a little bit of mages in the bot lane, so we're most likely sticking to a traditional style. Simplifies the draft a lot for us. Expect some high jungle priority, I'm sure. Last time we did see Jarvan hit the ban table here for Sin, so if that doesn't get banned away, that's probably going to be the premier pick here in this one. We are seeing similar bans already with the Ambessa and the Akali, the Hui. These are all going to, hit the tables. I feel like these kind of series, you always have your set 3 bans. It's a lot easier than trying to adapt on the fly, unless you have one strategy to get rid of a bit of it, as we do see the Jarvan get banned away here. So that does leave some stronger farming junglers as a potential, but also you could just fall back on stuff like the Xin Zhao that we didn't see, or the Nocturne Orianna that is not banned out here in this one either. So we could see one of those champs get picked up here. We could also see something like an Ahri Vi that's kind of been picking up a little bit. Mundo's going to be a new ban, I believe, was not banned in that first game, so a slight swap up here before this one.
Yeah, and it will leave first pick again for Boomers, who will grab that Zed, which was banned in game number 1, just grabbing that strong side laner or fire ping, potentially a pick for God's Glory, but I think we haven't seen a lot of Zed in jungle in recent history. I feel like it has just been a lot of Zed top.
Yeah, it has been, and we're going to see immediately the Jax into the Zehen, which could actually get flexed into the jungle, and it seems like Guo's more willing to play the kind of weird picks, so I could see this just kind of following the Zehen around to kind of match it, but we'll have to see how that actually plays out here, as we do have the Corki lock-in, so a strong bot laner here for Solbert, another one that can exert some sort of poke pressure in the early game, but not necessarily the strongest at it, as we do see the strongest at it, which will be the Caitlyn here, which was the thing that escaped the ban table this time. So we're going to be seeing Caitlyn. Will it be the Lux? Will it be the Karma that is still available as well? There's a couple options you could pick, but it's going to be the Vel'Koz.
I was afraid that we would be seeing this, as Vel'Koz support has started to become a little bit more in vogue. A little bit of ASAP information, I would say, coming through on the players. Finally understanding that Vel'Koz has been insanely strong. But you know what's good against these mages and immobile carries in the bottom lane? Hooks. And you know who has the simplest hook? It's Blitzcrank. So that's going to be OG Blitzcrank in the bottom lane.
No one to better do the hooking than Blitzcrank himself. So we will see how it goes. We obviously could have played something like a Pyke as well, but Pyke is quite susceptible to something like a Vel'Koz. So I
wouldn't have hated Nautilus, honestly, just for a little bit better defenses in case you do end up eating a lot of poke. Because Blitzcrank is, as much as he's like the hook champion, he's very vulnerable early in the game. Because yeah, you can hit the level 1, level 2 hook, but if you don't have the damage to actually follow it up, Caitlyn and Vel'Koz are just going to out DPS you, even in melee.
Yeah, and I think the biggest problem is Blitzcrank offers no peel at all, and the Zehen's going to be pretty sticky. So if Zehen gets really fed, you kind of have no answers currently in the draft, so that's why I expect the jungle to kind of pick it up, as we do see Ahri, so it does have the potential for a Vi or a Lee Sin, something like that.
Have the flex.
as the potential, as we do see, yeah, still the flex available here with the Jax Zehen. We'll see how that ends up playing out. I do expect a tank here for Boomers, at least in some capacity. It will be the Galio in mid. So opting for a worse matchup in mid, but having the global pressure to be able to match an Ahri in the side lane, so will make a lot of sense there. And then I'm not expecting a tank now, so it will be something like a Renekton, yeah.
Okay,
Does
so we are
guarantee
seeing
Zehen
jungle. Yeah, I don't think we were going to be seeing the Renekton jungle this time around as much as God's Glory could pull it out. So it is going to be Zehen moving towards the jungle. I wonder, like you said, if that means like will take it into the jungle, and yes, he will, because the Jax does have that favorable matchup versus the Zehen, but not as much versus the Renekton and Gnar. This is just a classic Renekton counter pick.
Yeah, classic Renekton counter pick here, as we do get the Gnar. So rounds up the composition nicely. I think this is decently standard, and at least you have a front line that could provide some sort of peel, and you already have the Ahri and Jax who are good at peeling for themselves. So the only one kind of on the hook for dealing with this Renekton Zehen Galio is really just going to be the Corki, who at least has Valk to get out of there. So, you know, I'd say a pretty straightforward composition here for Sin. They're looking for picks. They're looking to actually play out these team fights as soon as they get the man advantage with a hook or a charm, but you know, still a little bit interesting on whether or not they're going to be able to execute that strategy, because there are a lot of beefy health tanks that you really have to get through here to get to that Caitlyn Vel'Koz, who will be poking you throughout your journey in towards them. So will they be able to establish the zone? That's always something that's difficult for Vel'Koz. That's kind of why you don't see it as much in support. Getting vision is very scary for Vel'Koz. One hook and you are toast. So, you know, I have to be a little bit scared of the mid game here, but potentially could be paired up with a jungler here to kind of alleviate that pressure.
Yeah, now it's a question of who's going to take this advantage in game number 2. Boomers over Zoomers with a chance to set themselves to match point. And Sin trying their best to avoid a sweep. There was a pause at the beginning of the game, so we were going to see this minor freeze. Happens every time we pause because Riot loves their spectator client and does not neglect it in any way, shape, or form.
No, I mean, we had like a bugged overlay forever, and we still have that. I believe we were complaining about it weeks ago about the whole at vision, or yeah, wait,
which still exists. Which
still is in the game, yeah.
I mean,
and it's on official broadcast too, by the way.
Yeah, we also don't have the dragon timer in the upper left because it's a Chemtech or a Hextech dragon. I wish I could tell which one it is, but they still have not added in the icons for either of those two dragons.
Yeah, I mean, it's
wait, is it Infernal? Oh no. So has it gotten worse, or is this just a very specific bug this time around? It's hard to tell. It's a Riot Games spectator client.
Yep, it could be a pause-related issue, but also who knows? Gotta love it. As we do see pretty standard trading here, we do have Spaghetti Monster Vel'Koz, which is a great skin.
This is the Squid Ink variant of the chromas. Each one of them being named after a different way to prepare pasta. I know there's the white one, which is Alfredo, the pink one, which is strawberry, the black one is Squid Ink.
Okay, strawberry pasta? Are we for real?
For real, I think it's something that is actually quite tasty as like a potential like sweeter snack or a dessert thing. And I think there's a pesto one for the green one, but I could be totally misremembering the name of that one in particular. I just know that they're all after different flavors of pasta preparation, which I think is really cool. That's a cool flavor. I like that.
That is very cool. I mean, hey, I always feel like the April Fool's skins a little higher effort than a lot of the other ones, unfortunately. So glad to see it still ringing through.
Wild to say. The joke skins get the highest effort. That's a nice little stun there from Peels, is going to get some extra damage down, but this is just Gnar controlling waves as you're expected to do. With the Doran's Helm especially, it's really difficult for Fireping to actually get any sort of trades back. This is kind of what these new Doran's items have done. They've been able to shift lane advantages more in favor in certain directions. This Fireping extends very heavily, but now with no dice to dash back after the slice, it will be Peels getting a decent chunk traded back as well. It is Ignite for Fireping as well. I didn't note that in this early game, but it is also, I didn't even notice it's double Ignite. It's homegrown talent with the Aftershock, also opting for the offensive summoner spell.
Yeah, assuming that they're going to be the objectives first, I guess you don't need the TP anyways, but still just opting for that extra pressure, which is why I think Fireping went so far, wants to get to that half HP threshold for the Gnar, but doesn't actually do that much in the end, so not going to really find it, and just going to drop like, I believe, 4 caster minions or so just to get that pressure in. So pretty unfortunate for the top lane state. We'll just get a free recall here on the top side. TP back since Peels does have it.
Ooh,
Nice net away.
Nice 90 caliber by Gritty there. Gets away from the hook. We do have God's Glory in the bottom side here as well. Just getting ready for this first Scuttle Crab. We see Duo on the other side doing something similar as Z-Struck is going to take the worst of this trade. Homegrown Talent is going to get a lot of damage down. There's the Ignite. Flash auto. One more comes through. Flash too late from Z-Struck. First blood for Homegrown Talent.
I'm surprised not to just see the respect flash there from Z-Struck immediately, but opts to just hold it and unfortunately gets punished for it. Homegrown Talent knows the numbers with the Ignite and just finds the kill. Kind of unexpectedly, and you know, that's a matchup you don't expect to get a solo kill in as the Galio, so definitely going to be favoring that one here for the Boomers.
Yeah, it's part of why I was so surprised to see him actually take the Ignite in this matchup. You don't expect to be able to get any sort of real pressure off versus this Ahri. I think this is really a confidence pick from Homegrown Talent saying, hey, I know you're going to make a mistake at some point in this lane. I'm going to take advantage, and I'm going to get a kill out of it. And as we just saw there, he does.
Yeah, and this is with Doran's Helm, so not even a more offensive starting item, just going, oh yeah, I'm going to be very tanky, and I'm going to win the extended trade and get the kill on you. And Z-Struck already down to half after the TP. This is pretty disastrous if the poke keeps coming through, because that lead is only going to build. The charm doesn't go right.
Charm is wide. Temple Flash is in the area, but a nice taunt timing from Homegrown Talent is going to net him some distance. Can you sidestep the hook? Maybe no chance to, as it's a flash in from Temple Flash, but God's Glory is in the area. They know that Z-Struck doesn't have the flash, so God's Glory will take that last auto attack, and it's a disaster in the mid lane for Singuo.
Yeah, now Glow flashing
Glow
in.
now in here, will get the leap strike in, gets the two-man counter strike, pulls off that stun. Tempo Flash trying to escape, does have the barrier for himself, will stay alive. A double kill for the Jacks, nets them an advantage.
Yeah, and Jack getting strong in this game definitely is very significant. Solberg gonna take a lot of poke here, might even get taken down.
Barrier
has to burn the barrier.
Doesn't find any value. Forced to just Valkyrie away, and this is what the supporting support can lose out to, these heavy poke bottom lanes. You see the struggle that Solberg is now having with no range and no real way to farm from a distance pre-level 6, as Gritty and Jean-Marquis are just going to kind of run this laning phase now.
Yeah, should be pretty free here. Peel's getting dangerously low. The Ignite does come through and waits for the Mega with the Ignite ticking through. Doesn't want to get that anti-heal coming through, so...
It's weird that that works on the Megadar health gain, because it's not... your health bar is changing, it's not like a heal, it's weird. It's strange how that works out.
It's like you get more HP total, but really it's also healing you slightly. It's, yeah. Either way, net HP gain.
Yeah, but it is also, we saw up there in the top lane, we didn't see the full extent of the trade, but we see the Peels loses the Flash, and Fireping loses the Ignite. So I think a pretty winning trade for Fireping there. And again, confidence from these Boomers over Zoomers laners.
Yeah, this is definitely going pretty decently for them. It's pretty even gold, though. Yeah, well, I say pretty, but it's basically even at this point. And Jax could really take over the game if, you know, Glow gets a little bit too strong. Zahen and Renekton don't have a great way of dealing with it. Same for Galio, so, you know, it's definitely going to be pretty significant. And Gnar still doing its job in the top side. Hasn't died to the Renekton yet, so definitely doing everything that you could ask for at this point, especially with the Ignite in his pocket, so...
Now with the plated steel caps, it's going to be so much more difficult for Fireping to actually find a kill. And I was saying earlier, this is kind of how these new Doran's items have shifted these laning phases. You now have a defensive option if you're playing into a lane where you're not going to get poked very much, as Fireping will get a decent trade here, but Peels no Gnar ultimate available, so Fireping will just be able to dice his way back out. Solberg loses a lot of his health thanks to the level 6 proc from Jean-Marquis, the first one to hit level 6 in this bottom lane ahead of his AD carry. Not sure how that one happened.
I mean, just a little bit of support gaming. Now Gritty also hitting that level 6 over, so Temple kind of has to be careful here.
This bottom lane's kind of just done at this point. Solberg level 5 lost his flash in that exchange as well. Temple Flash doesn't have flash to actually take advantage, and even now with level 6, Solberg is just so far behind. If anything does happen, it just feels like the advantage will be in favor, as Ace in the Hole is going to get tanked up there by Solberg. Good job protecting your support, but Temple Flash needs to recall, and you're going to be stuck in, at very worst, a 2v2 with Guo in the area.
Yeah, Guo is in the area. I mean, we do have God's Glory just trying to protect as well, walking back over, but will be able to claim up this wave, at least for Solbert, so it's not going to be that relentless pressure, but 4-plate advantage for the Caitlyn. That's pretty much as good as you can ask for to 8 minutes into this.
Well, yikes, that does not feel good, as Peels will get a decent trade back here. The minion catches that boomerang, though, so Fireping able to walk out with most of his health intact.
You see some pings towards the grubs, so maybe potentially looking to trade over on the side of boomers, but they're not sure if it's actually on the grubs or the drag, but now seeing Guo on the bot side does make sense here. Peel's not going to find the ultimate onto the wall, but should get a nice extended trade.
Loses his boomerang, but still gets a couple of autos in. And again, this is just what the plated steel caps can kind of do for the Gnar. You're able to maintain your distance, keep your Renekton at an arm's reach, and if Renekton's not able to get close to you, he's feeling pretty sad for a lot of these trades.
Yeah, definitely something that you're pretty much expecting as Renekton. Oh, I will eventually get onto the opponent laner, but when the opponent laner is ranged, I mean, it's much more difficult. Guos gets sniped by oh my god, John Marquez at the very end there, so not actually going to be able to get a good gank off. Jamiroquai. I mean, everything under the sun that has a J, an M, and an A.
God's Glory is on a ward he doesn't know. He's going to get pulled in, but we'll get the double pull back. Solbert doing a lot of damage here. Does have the barrier. We'll tank up a lot of that. Now Jean-Marquis, the one in trouble. Guo forcing the flash and the heal out of him, but the Vel'Koz will get a decent trade back. Guo now under half HP, and the Boomer's bottom lane retains control of the situation as Solbert and Tempo Flash are still just forced to stay under turret.
Yeah, great flash there from Marquez. It's now Tempo Flash.
Forward for Tempo Flash. The hook goes wide. All lane goes God's Glory, but Tempo Flash is tanking up to survive. Smite comes through. Global finish up that kill. Teleport burned by Z-Struck just to make sure the play goes in their favor. A messy exchange, but it ends up being GG's taking advantage.
Super ugly. I gotta just say it how it is.
Yeah.
Super ugly.
Yeah.
Tempo Flash flashes forward, doesn't actually hit a hook, but then, you know, God's Glory goes under turret with ultimate and just gets immediately taken down as well. So, I don't know. Super sloppy from both teams, but ends up being an advantage over to Sin. But it is the TP committed, so are you going to be dropping some more waves? Let the Galio catch up just a little bit here in the CS department. And the bot lane turret, despite all that, still going to go in favor of Boomers.
Yeah, that's a lot of gold over to the Caitlyn, that first turret gold blood. Whoa, it's a little bit of damage there from Homer Talent, but the Galio not interested in trading with the Jax at this point. Triforce already completed. This Jax is a threat.
Yeah, definitely all eyes on Guo in this one. Got all 3 kills for the team here.
From Homegrown. Charm is going to cancel out the taunt. They'll just look at each other menacingly for a little bit as Z-Struck will get a chunk back, but Homegrown is just happy continuously taking these trades.
Yeah, another objective over to Sin, though. Whoa, now it's stuck in a hard spot.
Spotted. Heroic entrance from the Galio. Justice Punch, and they found Guo. They get the kill over to Fireping, and the Renekton can now finally say he's online.
Yeah, no one is there to answer bot lane, though, so they will lose some lanes, some CS here on that side, and it gives Solbert some critical time to breathe, finally, in this one, so we'll finally get some alone time here as Galio and Renekton kind of walking towards that bot side as we do have a 2v2 occurring in the top side. Blitzcrank gets a hen.
Gritty in a little bit of trouble. Does manage to sidestep the hook again. Gritty just positioning very well throughout the course of this series. I mean, obviously with the tier 2 boots, it's a lot easier to do, but you feel like once that knockup lands that it kind of has to be a kill.
Yeah, just tries to get a little cheeky with it here for Tempo Flash, but unfortunately goes a little bit wide. Tries to extend kind of the duration of CC by allowing Gritty to walk a little bit, but gives it the window to just be able to survive out on that one, so not going to be perfect here. Homegrown Talent now stuck in the side lane. No TP, no ultimate at this point, so just going to be clearing waves for a bit while the rest of the team kind of stands by.
Yeah, is a little bit worried about the potential for Guo to come through the side lane. Not a lot of wards available for him to protect, so he's just going to let the wave push up with him, try and get the minions to come back towards him. Z-Struck should be pushing that wave out, so he should be able to take advantage of that at the very least, but meantime, it is just a sizable gold lead to Boomers right now. Just about 1,000 in their favor, a little bit more as we're starting to see some CS get picked up, and this Caitlyn is so strong already, but we're starting to get to that point in the game where she's going to hit this power trough. We talk about it all the time whenever Caitlyn is on. Strong in the early game, strong in the late game, but that mid-game valley she hits where she's just waiting on that like 3.5, 4 item spike when she doesn't have 100% crit yet. it feels a lot weaker for her. So I'm wondering how SynGG are going to be able to actually take advantage of that trough.
Yeah, and they're not in the greatest position. We do now have Corki at least completing the Trinity, so a little bit more tanky, a little bit more damage in the pockets. Now Fire Ping getting damaged out. Nice ult away to avoid any trading, and Peels walks away. This is
Feels
good
so
Gnar
odd.
gameplay here.
Yeah, this is objectively correct Gnar gameplay. As in the meantime, Tempo Flash with that light form disintegration array. Jean Marquis will take that last hit, get himself his first kill. But yeah, that's like technically correct Gnar gameplay to see him just ult the Renekton away, so there can't be any sort of trade back. But it does feel weird to see.
Yes, we do see the kind of how this actually started. Tempo Flash just walks very far forward, but doesn't land again. And with the net slow, Q comes through, and it's more than a free kill here as we do get the dragon coming up into the pockets of the boomers. But they did not get the first Drake, so it's a little slower on the pace than they'd like.
This is what I was talking about with Blitzcrank versus champions like Nautilus or like Pike in draft. You don't have a lot of that same safety. Like, yeah, you're not as committal when you do the hook, but Blitzcrank slows himself down. He gets tired. If you miss that hook, you're not providing anything else. You're not even really tanky to be able to provide, like, a body to be a frontliner. You're so squishy with these support items early in the game. His hook is going to go wide again. Jean Marquis with the nice rift there to bump Tempo Flash back, but at least with Nautilus, if you're not providing the hook, you have the auto attacks, you have the slow on your E, you have the depth charge for guaranteed value. But with Blitzcrank, you're kind of just hoping that you hit the hook, and if you don't, you got nothing else.
Yeah, this champ is very as far as one-dimensional. There is exactly one dimension. It's yes, I will click Q, and if it hits, I'm winning the game. And this is what makes like a player like Delight, for instance. When Delight locked in Blitzcrank in Game 5 against Lion, I'm like, all right, we lost. Because Delight's about to hit every hook, and there's going to be no chance. And that's exactly what happened. Whereas,
yeah,
you know, not everyone's Delight. That's the main issue here, is basically what I'm getting at here. I will say, Blitzcrank infinitely scaling champion. Every hook is an opportunity to win the game. So
technically infinite scale, you're right, as God's Glory is going to get engaged on here. Nice little CC immunity with the ultimate, trying to keep Marquis alive with that ultimate, and now the heroic entrance in. Smite goes through to Glow, but the rest hero not picked up just yet. It's the fight for Boomers, and they will take it in spades. Wolf falls, Peels the next to go. A double kill over to Homegrown Talent. They want a little more. Peels on the run. He'll manage to navigate his way out, but it's 4-0 in favor of Boomers, and the Herald denied away from GG's.
Yeah, crazy immediate engage here onto the couple members here. Glow tries to go forward onto Jean Marquez, and it seems free because, hey, it's just a Vel'Koz, doesn't have too much utility at this point. And Fire Ping already extremely low in this one. But as you can see, Zahen is God's Glory, does his best just to peel for the Vel'Koz, and now Glow is in a terrible position. And, you know, Fire Ping gets pulled in, that gives enough space for him to just EEQ, and this does massive damage, of course, with the Galio as well on top. So, just so much AoE damage, and there is no surviving for the side of Sin.
This combo of God's Glory and Homegrown Talent have been so clutch for Boomers this series. The game 1 Yasuo Wukong, it really did feel like a test for them. Like, hey, do you have this energy to find those snap engages to get a good combo off on the right targets? And as soon as they did, the game ended, and now we're seeing something very similar. Obviously, Galio's ahead. It's no Yasuo Wukong, but they can combo together. And speaking of the Zahen, God's Glory trying to chase down Peels. We'll get that hook back and set him into range for Fire Ping, and this should just be a dead Gnar. Gritty is gifted the kill, his first of the game, and now the Caitlyn starting to get online as Homegrown doing his best to defend his Vel'Koz in this mid lane as he's going to start to transition away from being a full-on support and more of a secondary carry.
Yeah, I do like that, like how Boomer is playing. They're really playing around the Vel'Koz as a carry in this one. They know the strength of the champion, and I mean, it's been getting adequate protection throughout this one, and that really shows, like, hey, they know how this composition should interact, at least in the draft, or after the draft comes through. So I really do like, you know, the way that they've kind of set up this game, and I foresee them doing very well in the next 10 minutes, but I can't say the magic words of, you know, yeah, I'll leave it there.
We can't say the cursed words. I will say, for any of you solo queue supports or people who do get autofilled and start playing support, don't expect your Vel'Koz games to go like this. if you just are thinking like, oh, I need a strong mage in the bottom lane because I don't know how to like actually play support. I just want to play a carry. Vel'Koz ain't the guy if you're not a Vel'Koz player. You're going to get caught, you're going to die, and you're not going to know how to actually use your spells well enough to you know, be as good as Jean Marquis has been in this game. With a nice little angle there, is going to force the flash out of tempo.
Yeah, just play the much easier. Just play the much easier, also free vision Zyra if you really want to get similar results.
Oh my god, don't encourage people to play that champion again. I've been so happy to not see her in the jungle anymore.
Well, back in support if you really want to play some mage support. That's all I'm saying. Luck's also quite good, but yeah, I don't think anyone wants to see that either. So, you know, it is at least different than the roaming supports I've been seeing in my games personally. Because I've been playing a lot of ranked 5s lately because it's been pretty fun. And man, these people are complete degenerates. They see an LCS or a LCK composition, they're playing it no matter what.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of Camille supports already, and they have been no fun to play against, especially when it's like top laners who are just trying to play support, so they'll just go in all the time. No good. Not a lot of fun. Honestly, the sauce, if you're ever autofilled into support and it's not banned away, literally just pick Nautilus. This champion is still free low in solo queue because every engage almost guaranteed will net you a kill.
Yep.
The hook into the auto, it does so much time CC as Peels will get that extra stun off, but Fire Pain feeling fairly strong, flashing forward, but it's into two other members of GG's. The hook doesn't land, the lollipop not there, tempo is robbed, and that's a hook you really needed to have land. That feels so bad.
You know, I'm starting to think this OG pay-to-win skin is maybe now pay-to-lose.
Oh, goodbye Z-Struck as... Yeah, Jean Marquis does plenty of damage on this Vel'Koz. Now Tempo and Guo on the flank. Hook's gonna land, but Homegrown Talent was already in there with the Justice Punch. But it's the engage onto the Caitlyn that they want. Gritty staying alive for long. Peels really wants to chase it down, but a nice sidestep on the Boomerang. They won't be able to finish the Caitlyn in the meantime. On the other side of the fight, everything goes wrong for Sin Guo. Guo falls. Z-Struck's already down. Soulbird's down. Flash is down. Peels on the run again. Deja vu. I feel like I've seen this play before. Running through his topside jungle, trying to stay alive. Fire Pink will get a nice stun up, and God's Glory should be here to help finish off the kill. They just need a little bit of CC to land. There he goes. There's the ace, and that should be the Baron turn for Boomers.
Actually criminal that Gritty gets to survive that. Showed zero respect to the enemy team. I don't even think noticed that they were behind Gritty there. Commits to killing the turret. Flashes late. Doesn't matter. The Caitlyn stays alive, and, well, that was your only goal in that fight, and somehow it didn't come true, so that just nets Boomers over Zoomers a wonderful fight for themselves, and a Baron in tow, so, wow.
There was some decent positioning there from Gritty. At the end of the fight, sidestepping the Boomerang, getting away from the Gnar, and it was good peel by the members of Boomers, but I think you're absolutely right. That was criminal, and that feels like, mentally, a kind of a breaking point for this GG's comp. They're now down about, what is that now, 6,000, 7,000 gold, give or take. The comp is not going to get much better for them as Boomers are going to start to get online with Caitlyn, get past that power drop point as Jean Marquis, the one in trouble, sidesteps the hook. Again, Z-Struck trying to get in, but they will be able to finish off the Vel'Koz shutdown. Over to the Ori, flash, dash, Spirit Rush, get out. Nice charm landing, but Fire Ping has the slice, has the dice, will get on top of her. Guo gets taunted out. Homegrown Talent now stuck in a 2v2 with God's Glory over the wall. He will navigate his way over. They're trying to get on top of Guo. Nice little sidestep. Has the counter-strike. Gets the two-man stun. Fire Ping now in the area. Comes in. Judgment time. God's Glory smites him down. Tempo flash on the run. Blitzcrank will eventually tire himself out, but he doesn't need to. Hook back from the Zahan. A double kill for the jungler of BOZ. And they are running this game.
Yeah, it was indeed a very nice 10 minutes here for Boomers over Zoomers as they're able to get Soulbert at the very tail end here and most likely just walk away with the Nexus.
The tech. No chance for him to escape. Now an 18 stack Magi's for him as we'll get a replay of what exactly happened on this bottom side fight.
Yeah, it's a little bit split up here as Gritty gets jumped on by Guo. Does get taken down, but doesn't actually, you know, they're not actually going to finish the game here, so just noted that. But yeah, the fight just extends a long time, and with Zahen able to just kind of chase out here, Convergence comes through from Fire Ping. Trying his best to get out of here, but a nice re-engage here, and Tempo Flash also not going to be able to get out here as the dashes do come back up, and a nice pull once again here from God's Glory. Doing a great job on the Zahen so far in this one.
Just chases him down. I swear, Rylai's is the most broken item in the game. They had to nerf Cyrilus because it was too good on champions like Ezreal who could constantly apply it. They had to remove Frozen Mallet because putting it on auto attacks was too overpowered, but mages get to keep theirs because Riot loves mages.
Yeah,
that's a headshot. Gritty's gonna get 2 headshots down. Solbert will lose most of his health. Gritty will get down to under a quarter. Jean-Marquis is actually the first one to go as Z-Struck getting some decent damage now, but with no Spirit Rush charges left. Gritty will be able to finish that one off. A valiant effort there from Z-Struck in the 1v3, but nothing doing there.
Yeah, Gritty really wanted that full combo there, so ends up taking a lot of damage from the Ahri. Now they're going to re-engage Gritty.
Gritty taken down way too far forward. The disrespect showing again as the Caitlyn will fall, and now Temple Flash, Solbert, and Heals will be able to chase down the Zehen. Fire Ping in the area. Dominus available. But there's that Rylai slow again. They can't chase him down. God's Glory is going to be able to get out. Fire Ping with the slice and dice as well will just be able to get his way across. Tempo Flash waiting on that hook cooldown. He just needs a little bit more time. Minion the wave, playing a little bit of havoc. Do they want to chase down for more kills? They have to try and find something here as Fire Ping. Now with the Dominance on, will turn, silence, hook, everything, but it's on to the Unstoppables ahead as he'll turn one, and now Homegrown Talent's here! They waited too long! God's Glory arrives, and then everything is shut down. Z-Struck teleports into the fight, but God's Glory has the passive on it. It will not matter if you can take him down. Jean-Marquis with the Life Orb Disintegration Ray over the wall, gets a tag onto Z-Struck, and now with the slows, there's no chance for you to run away! A triple kill for Homegrown, and Boomers over Zoomers are gonna send us to Game 3!
Yeah, very, very patient play there. I honestly thought they were gonna turn after God's Glory escaped into that bush, and Homegrown was hitting the Q damage, but they played a lot longer game there, and they eventually come out with the win as they engage on the Fire Ping. And I mean, it's just a great game here for Boomers over Zoomers. Of course, there's a couple misplays here and there, but that does not matter at the end of the day when you are taking down the Nexus, and they want some extra kills on top here.
Guo really wants to take down this AD carry one more time, but will not be allowed to. Sundered Sky is good, but it ain't that good. Tempo Flash will die one more time, one more kill over to Gritty. Boomers over Zoomers will send us to match point. And what a game that was.
Yeah, very, very commanding victory. As soon as they got that initial lead towards the mid lane, I mean, then it's just Homegrown Talent and God's Glory game to have. And, you know, when you got a bot lane that kills the turret at 9 minutes, yeah, you're probably going to win that game most of the time. So,
yeah, it's the counter to the roaming supports, as we'll get a full-on replay way back when this first turret was going down.
Gritty really wanted this combo headshot, but unfortunately, Z-Struck plays a little bit of distraction game there. Not able to find it, and then the Galio shield comes through, kill comes in, so nothing too crazy as we do see how the extended play goes. So I assume Gritty's going to die here, and then God's Glory gets to run away here at the very end.
Look at how much Rylai's value they get over this chase.
Right here was a re-engage.
Yeah, but then they just keep getting the slows. They just keep managing to find their way out. It's disgusting.
Yeah, and eventually Fire Ping does get in range for the hook, but way too late here. Galio is able to rejoin in time, and Zehen with a beautiful W here. I'm surprised the Gnar even got clipped by that, but more than enough to finish the game. And just consolation prize on the Ahri kill at the very end as well. Solbert goes down, and immediate flash follow here from Homegrown Talent.
I have to say it. Without Rylai's, not only does Z-Struck get out here at the end, I think, versus Homegrown Talent, even with the Proto Belt, I think that chase always works for SynGG. The couple of Rylai's slows that Homegrown Talent got at the start of that chase, combined with the Cloud Dragon soul map, allowed them to escape. This item is broken, Riot. Please either remove it or nerf it. Do something. Please. Please, I'm begging you.
I like Rylai's because they nerfed or removed every other slow item. I'm of the camp that everyone should have a slow item rather than nobody, because it's at least interesting. Like, I miss Frozen Mallet because at least it adds some complexity and depth. I'm sure people disagree.
You would miss Frozen Mallet, wouldn't you?
I did play Gnar. It is true.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
Well, that was a great game from the Boomers. We're going to send it to a break here while we get ourselves ready for game number 3 between SynGG Guo next and the Boomers over Zoomers. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Vanquisher action.
550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me. That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? stop shit, so I'm still pushing like a mosh pit. Ice dripping, think I'm hot shit. In a yellow bucket with the mop stick. I've been jugging jams like wholesale. Everything must go sell. Hitting bitches with the oh well. Need 100 million on the low scale. On my worst night, I'm the best nigga. Wouldn't mess with you, couldn't cap to him. Homie spotted me like 700, brought 1100 right back to him. If I can't do it, then it ain't real. I just make dollars, I don't make deals. I've been going hard in the paint, still blowing kush clouds till I can't feel like. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like. 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like. 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
Welcome back, everybody. We are getting ourselves underway for game number 3 between SynGG's Guo Next and Boomers over Zoomers. I'm still Purdy, that's still Golden Gad, and that was a slobber knocker of a game, too. The Boomers just kind of, as soon as they hit like 15 minutes into the game, said, okay, we're won the game now, and then they did.
Yeah, I mean, they drafted a composition that has a strong bot side and a pretty strong mid-jungle duo, and they did their thing, and it worked out great. So here we're seeing similar drafts already, and Bessa still going to be that first ban here. Doesn't want to, try and first pick it themselves, so it will just keep on that ban list. We're going to see Mundo taken off the table, which does leave the Akali, I believe, which has been banned the last couple, so...
We had the Caitlyn banned away in game 1, which then got through in game number 2, so now it will be Mundo plus Akali plus whatever they decide to ban third. If they keep the bans the same, it will be I was just about to say who it was, and then I totally lost my mind. Hoi is going to be banned away by Boomers over Zoomers. GG's will move to their last ban.
I'm also trying to think, and I'm blanking as well. So, that chance
sometimes it's so hard to remember a draft.
Yeah. Sivir was not the ban, I'll tell you that right now.
It was not the ban, so it will be another champion left open.
Jarvan,
and as soon as we see...
Jarvan,
yes, which means Boomers do have the opportunity to first pick a strong jungle here. Nocturne Orianna, still something that's available. We haven't even seen hints of it throughout this series, but instead it's going to be the Aatrox picked up. Potentially flexible into the jungle. I think almost at this point we say potentially flexible into the top lane. I feel like I've been seeing it more jungle than top recently.
This champ could go anywhere. You could even put it mid if you really want to.
Put it bot lane carry. Play it versus the Ziggs. That'll be playable.
Perfect. Ziggs locked in. All right. So now we can pay. Now we play the classic counter pick of Victor bot lane into the Ziggs. I'm not kidding.
Yone. I mean, yeah, I've played with someone who does play a lot of Vector bottom lane, and I've seen it picked. It works. It does well. Yeah. I mean, we can't pick it because Victor's already gone. So, fearless bans doing their job. It will be the Jhin actually that potentially match up into the Ziggs. We should say potentially. Ziggs can still go mid lane. I mean, Gritty said that both he and Silbert were not mage bottom lane players, so this would be a little against the script if they did lock in that Ziggs, as it's going to be Poppy here, potentially for Jean Marquis, but could be God's Glory as well.
If we're talking classically, Yone has always been a counter pick to Aatrox, so I would not be surprised to see that be kind of the match here. And we are going to see Maokai as well here. Support.
If that's a bottom lane, Ziggs Maokai, I'm disgusted. That's
the Maokai
terrible to play
for sure.
Yeah, but you also just play saplings levels 1 through 3, and nobody gets to have fun.
That's what Maokai does great, and that's why I love him. So that's probably what we'll see.
Oh, so you're the person I hate seeing in solo queue. Got it.
I am well known for the first time I hit Diamond, I was playing Maokai support.
I remember this.
Yeah, I was that guy, and it was before anyone played it in pro, so I was the original cancer.
You did it before you were cool.
Yeah, no, for sure. And now Fizz is going to get banned away again, which makes no sense still. I don't understand. I didn't comment on it the first time, but...
This is comfort picks for homegrown talent, very clearly. It's champions that he likes to play. We've seen him play aggressive on these tankier, more bruisery picks, and now seeing these champions banned away from him, it kind of makes sense. Yasuo's gone, Yone's gone, now Kassadin and Fizz as well. Assuming that this is going to be Yone mid with the Sejuani jungle, I'm curious what the pick mid lane is actually going to be for homegrown talent, because this is probably a matchup that he has experience with on the other side, as Olaf is going to be
flex again.
Potentially the blind pick top lane, but it could go jungle as well. Fireping and God's Glory just hanging on to that flexibility, because they're going to wait for a potential last pick here.
Oh.
Alzahar. Okay.
No. Okay, this champ has been very good recently. I'm not going to lie. Like, it's been kind of gross, and it's kind of the perfect pick to say, all right, the ball's in your court, Sin. What do you got to counter everything? And it's going to be the Ziggs flex towards mid and the Yunar in the bot side. We got,
which means Yone top.
Which means
Maokai support.
To match
Yone
the Aatrox.
Top versus either Aatrox or
Olaf could get flexed. If the Olaf gets flexed, Yone is screwed.
Yeah, I feel like Yone doesn't have fun versus Olaf. I mean, even Manaless versus Mana, obviously that tends to go in the favor of the Manaless champion just because health regen is the way that it is. But Olaf is just one of those champions that, like, if you're not strong levels 1 through 3, you're going to be in trouble, as it is going to be Fireping on this Olaf.
Uh-oh.
And Peels has been playing a great series, mind you. Peels has been having a fantastic series despite GG's being in this 0-2 hole. I'm curious to see if he can pull off this lady phase. He's also opted for the Doran's bow, so no real defensive stats, just saying, I need to trade. I have to win this 1v1 and these 2v2s.
You know, I just Googled the stats. I don't expect it to look good. I'm not gonna lie, but a good Yone can always get out of any scenario by playing I will click W when you walk at me and walk away. So there's always the potential to survive laning phase, and eventually the Yone will outscale the Olaf, but getting there can be a little tricky with the Ghost in inventory here for Fireping.
Yeah, he's also going to be a real side lane threat, is the Olaf. Always tends to be kind of an issue. He's really good at taking down turrets. I think especially with Conqueror, it's going to be so difficult to actually just push him out of these lanes.
We are seeing here that it is just TP here for both Z-Struck and Peels, but once again, Fireping and Homegrown Talents, not an advocate of the Summoner, so will be double Ghost for them. And I'm always an advocate of Ghost on these mid lane mages. Pretty much every time I play Victor, I'm always picking Ghost. It just makes a lot more sense. You get both the flexibility to run back to lane quicker, or even just to play out these team fights a little bit better. And Goes on Malzahar is especially disgusting because it gives you an extended kind of engage range to just click R on someone. So definitely some good stuff there. As you know, always with Olaf, you don't really care about your HP value until it's 0. So
yeah, as long as you can sustain in this 1v1 trade and just keep your health above, like, I want to say a quarter, you're pretty happy, as we are going to see Guo up here on the top side. We'll be spotted out by this ward. Fireping smartly realizing that Sejuani will play towards this melee, but is actually just going to walk towards him instead, try and just play for this 1v1, and Guo's in a lot of trouble, has to flash away. That undertow threat was just barely off cooldown. Guo tries to take the first gank happen, but Fireping ganks him first.
Yeah, very brave there from Guo, though, just trading the Summoner and the HP bar for a little bit of pressure, but this does give the Aatrox, who has a much, you know, kind of a slower clear, all things considered, a lot of extra time here to get on the map and get to this first scuttle very early on compared to the Sejuani, who didn't end up recalling, but did have a very slow Krug camp here, so Aatrox very much so off the ground in this one.
Yeah, I feel like as much as I've been seeing a lot of Aatrox, as we get a small trade here on the bottom side, Tempo Flash is going to get caught by that root. Flash having to be extended. Gritty, Flash for the 4th shot, ignites there! First blood! Soulbert's going to try and trade back. Will Flash forward to get that last auto, but now God's Glory is here. Flash is in for the Q3! The Umbral Blades find the kill!
Yeah, just very well played there from especially Jar Marquez, who eased the Maokai away from Gritty there, so the Q actually doesn't land and interrupt, and then eventually the stun comes through with both procs of the Poppy Q as well, so just max damage you could possibly get in that scenario, and really well played from them, and good for God's Glory to be there, using that extra tempo he has from Guo, kind of committing to that top side very well to get another kill over on that bot side and push in a double stacked wave here, as we do get a replay here of how that started up. So immediately ease away tempo, so the Q doesn't land. That's so much damage for Maokai, by the way, because that champ's all base damage. Flash comes through, the follow up is there, and eventually gets traded out, and now we're seeing trades on top as well.
We'll trade 1-for-1 here. Peels and Fireping going down. Junglers staying alive and leaving the lane as it is. Yeah, Poppy Q does way more damage than I think people really give it any credit for doing. His Tempo Flash is going to go back in. John Marquis now potentially in a bit of trouble. Solberg has that tempo stacked. Will continue to walk forward. Does have that Q turned on, but can't get any more damage. As we'll get a replay of what exactly happened here on the top side.
Yeah, just very aggressive here from Peels, but trying to bait in. Oh, but the Q doesn't land, so Fireping has a lot more pressure to maybe just go for a trade here. Wants to try and stall for the jungler to be there. Not enough to actually survive out, but enough to get the trade kill at the very least, so pretty good patience there. Usually when I see an Olaf, I'm like, oh, he's going in right here, hit Q. But right there.
Yeah, he actually waited. That was smart. As Peels will get a really good trade here, actually. Once this snapback comes through, Fireping will lose a lot of that HP, but again, with the potions and with that passive on the W, we'll be able to sustain up plenty of that health back. Olaf is, as you said, never really in trouble until that health bar truly hits 0.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be pretty important who hits 6 here first, and it is going to be Fire Ping, so Peel's now going to be pretty much guaranteed off the wave for the next half a minute or so, so pretty well played here.
It could be longer than that. I think it's going to be until Guo comes up here to help him out, because Fire Ping can just start to walk at him and zone him away from these minions. I mean, if 6 gets denied, as Peels is forced to use the Soul Unbound just for a little bit of poke back and try and trade.
Yeah, Peels should get the level off of this caster minion, so they could potentially look for a play immediately on the level 6 turn if Peels is paying attention here, but doesn't look like
when does it actually die?
I mean, you'll have to hard commit, so I'm saying like a mid trade, you kill the last minion and then go for the level 6, but obviously that is reactable by Fire Ping, so won't actually go for any of that, just going to catch up this wave, and it's going to be pretty chill for them. They are going to grab up the Scuttle Crab here on the bot side in preparation of the Drake.
Level 6. Thanks to absorbing some of that CS and XP from top side and bottom lane, he's able to get 6 before the ultimate goes off as Guo and Fire Ping now turning up here on the top side. If Fire Ping gets the W back, there's a chance that he can try and turn this around. It's going to be pretty tough for him to do, but yeah, one more hammer swing will do. His Homegrown Talent in the meantime finds Z-Struck in mid lane thanks to some help from Jean-Marquis. The Poppy building and playing very aggressive, that early serrated Dirk, as we'll see exactly how that happened here.
Yeah, I'm surprised. It didn't look like a kill position, but just gets caught sleeping at the wheel and tries to use the W. The block is there. Z-Struck gets taken down. And, yep, Malzahar doing as Malzahar does. Clicks are on your face, and with some support there, the damage is more than enough. They do claim the dragon as well.
The steadfast presence blocking the satchel charge jump is something I hadn't thought about before, but makes perfect sense. It's technically a dash.
I mean, it blocks
tosses himself. That's a dash, yeah.
Yeah, it blocks Blast Plant, which is exactly the same thing, pretty much. So, makes a lot of sense to see it in play there. But, you know, still just unfortunate here for Z-Struck, who was hoping for a very passive lane, I'm sure, and just wanting to play towards that mid game and utilizing the strength of a Maokai Ziggs in team fight, as we do see triples Dark. Yeah. This item is kind of strong, I think.
Yeah, like, I always complain about lethality being kind of a bad stat and why people should be building other lethality items that aren't collector. But even though lethality I think is kind of a bad stat, but early game, it's really good. It's really strong to be able to ignore what little armor your opponent does have, even post the durability update.
Yep, and that's what...
Continued aggression.
That's what always made Ophelio so good, is you just get free lethality in the early game, and, you know, that allows you to get to that mid to late game that you really need to hit, so...
Yeah, it always surprised me that more Ophelios didn't max the lethality out first, just because it was the one that scaled the worst, and then you go either AD or attack speed, depending on what you need in your build. But I felt like I always just saw Ophelios going AD or attack speed first, and then the other, and then lethality last is just sort of like a consolation prize, as Tempo Flash forced to use that summoner defensively as God's Glory was in the area. Knows he's on a ward, so we'll have to just walk back out. Has potentially actually collapsed on here. Z-Struck in the area, but Z-Struck is the one getting collapsed on as there's that Malzahar ultimate suppressed to death. The killing spree now for God's Glory. Whoa, now on the run. Tempo Flash trying to get away, but there's that the deadly flourish. The burn from Homegrown Talent will pick up that kill. Tempo Flash the last one to go, but nothing doing for him. Soulbird stuck under turret. In the meantime, top side, Fire Ping finds the 1v1, and this Olaf is officially a problem.
Yeah, that's a pretty disastrous one. Nearly an ace here on the side. Unfortunately, with your damage dealer going down there, only the Maokai and the Sejuani are not going to do nearly enough to any of the carries there, so it's just immediately turn tail and run. Yunar not really in a position to do any damage in that one either, so pretty much a complete disaster immediately. And the Malzahar, once again, clicks R on the Ziggs, and that fizzles the play immediately.
Yeah, it kind of turns out when you can just, in the meantime, bottom side, Soulbird goes down. It will be traded back. Jean-Marquis will fall. But in the meantime, topside, we have this play on the Grubs. Guo and Tempo Flash are here. It was a 1-for-1 on that bottom side. First Grub will go down in favor of the Boomers. But now Z-Struck in the area. Fire Ping, no ultimate, no ghost available. So this Olaf is pretty weak currently, and which is why you see Boomers backing off so hard. And it will just be the last 2 Grubs given over to GG's.
Yeah, at least good to get something on the map, a little bit of gold, a little bit of pressure for the side lane in the future, as we do have Ziggs and Yone, who are both great at this. Z-Struck just not knowing he's on a ward. It's just immediately taken down. No outplay potential to be had. As then the play is just completely over before it really even starts, and they're able to chase out Tempo Flash and Glow here to win that one out.
I was a little surprised to see Solbert not turn on the ultimate there and just try and get something done, but I feel like at this point in the early game on Unara, you're not really getting anything done.
In the picture.
In the meantime, bottom side, yeah, Solbert's just dead. Jean Marquis, turns out Poppy lethality early game does damage.
Yeah, that is
That's
pretty
disgusting.
Yeah.
That ultimate hit him? Oh, if I'm Jean Marquis, I'm pissed about that. In the meantime, mid lane now, Z-Struck the one in trouble as God's Glory is going to try and finish this off. The flash, Q3, the auto. He'll get stunned up under turret, but it's the golden finish for him. Shutdown given over to Guo, but he got his mid laner the assist. He's happy with that.
Yeah, Umberglaive Poppy, definitely enough to solo kill an 80 carry with double summoner, by the way. So
I don't think Guo wins this, actually. Guo is in a lot of trouble. Protoplasm Harness will get him a lot of health back, so he'll be able to walk out, but you have to respect the Malzahar damage at this point in the game.
Yeah, no ultimate means that is just a pretty free thing here. Well, that's fine. They did just kill Maokai.
He trades 1-for-1, but it's an execute. What on earth is happening in this bottom lane? You know what I love to see this game? Not a single collector. This is great. Nobody has fallen for the collector trap. I love this.
And this Poppy's going to be scary. I don't think any champion can really deal with Poppy well in this one, because Yone, obviously, you need the dashes. Sejuani, you kind of want the dash as well, just to close the gap. And Unara is a sitting duck against Poppy, so realistically, this is not going to be easy. And I don't know if they win this 2v1 against Firepink.
He doesn't have ult, he doesn't have flash, so he can be crowd controlled. They can just try to lock him up, and with Z-Struck in the area as well, they'll throw the bomb. The kitchen sink at Firepink, and they will take down the Olaf.
Yeah, does work out there. I believe didn't have the Ravenous Hydra just completed just there, but I think if you do, that is easily a turnable even without ult there, so good to have Z-Struck in the area. No, Dragon is going over here to God's Glory. Jean Marquez is very far behind in enemy lines. Guo has to play a little bit careful.
I think he's just going to try and kill Solbert if he walks back to lane, but he's not walking back to lane. He's standing in mid lane as they're going to try and turn on to Guo, but now Solbert's over the wall, ascended, transcended. He'll be able to pick up the kill in the God's Glory. Homegrown talent will fall as well. Guo picking up that shutdown gold. Gritty and Jean Marquis looking for a potential turnaround here, so they'll get the stun over the wall. This should just be one dead Maokai. The kill given over to the Poppy. A fifth one in her pocket as Guo overstaying is welcome a little bit. Firepink looking for a potential punish. He'll steal the big raptor. Deadly Flourish over the wall doesn't land. Jean Marquis just tried to chase down with him. The curtain call will open up and Guo will fall. Flashes away, but the bullets will fly. Gritty lands that shot every time.
Why would you flash? That's like the one strength of Sejuani is flash R from like 3 screens away and you're dead. A little bit unfortunate. Homegrown talent though. Just gets Spell Shield pop, not expecting it here from Z-Struck, and Guo immediately goes for the engage. You know, Homegrown talent has to click R. Unfortunately, not enough damage to actually burst through the HP bar, and eventually gets chased out by the Sejuani here. And it's a nice play here from Gritty. Tempo just not respecting it, and he comes through on the wall. And that's a free kill on the Maokai.
So much damage. This is absurd. And then this is so greedy.
Yeah, it is. And then the Q hits, so the armor shred's there. 4-shot doesn't kill because there's no crit on it, but still a lot of damage coming through, and Guo eventually flashes and still gets taken down anyways.
In all honesty for Guo, do you escape there even if you get that flash off and you don't get hit by the bullets? Because Firepink was right there, and so was Jean Marquis. Tempo Flash with his own flash will manage to get out of a dodge, but it just really feels like Boomers have control over this map again, and it's so difficult for GGs to actually find any control.
Yeah, this is looking pretty rough. Unara should be coming online in just, you know, maybe like 7 minutes, at least to a little bit of a degree. As we do see a lot of action.
Pretty forced to lose the flash. The Glacial Prison was there. Whoa, stepping on playing defense with Z-Struck behind him, feeling confident to just continue to walk forward. Firepink, no Ragnarok available just yet. Will take a lot of damage from Z-Struck, but will avoid the Mega Inferno Bomb. Brady trying to trade back, but 4-shot still waiting in pocket. So everyone else will walk away, and it's just the teleport granted by BOZ. They'll take that away from Z-Struck and get a nice bottom side push.
Yeah, Tempo survives at least the Poppy for now.
Yeah, Jean Marquis is just kind of walking the map right now. He's Halo Blade's Poppy. He's got his Umberglaive. He has the Bloodsong as well. I don't think he cares. With the Swifty Roots in inventory, he can just kind of chase anybody down that he wants.
Yeah, Solbert here. Just kind of farming it up here. you know, Homegrown Talent with a lot of CS at this point, 148 in this game here. So really good pace, almost 10 CS a minute. So doing what Malzahar is destined to do, which is click E and Q and W on the wave, and it dies every time.
You press EW and the wave auto pushes. That champion is kind of good at clearing waves.
This is true. That is, you know what's funny? I don't know what's stronger, the wave clear ability or the clicking R and immediately someone dies.
I think both of them are really strong in two different ways, as we're seeing the push up here on the top side, Mega Inferno Bomb used just to clear out the wave, make sure Fire Ping can't just free hit that turret. And Z-Struck just doing his own job, just clearing waves continuously, and this is exactly what the Ziggs is supposed to do as well.
Yeah, Jarmark. You know, you also see some nice control sometimes from Jarmarquez. I would have expected the way he's been playing this game, he walks directly into that brush where tempo is.
I just saw Gritty pick up the Collector second item. I'm so disappointed. I thought for sure we were going to go without Collectors this game. Why are we building Collector in the year of our Lord 2026? Why is this happening?
But like it has the same stat as Hubris, so it matches. It's like a pair.
It's so bad. It's such a bad item. Just get any other crit item if you want crit. It's so bad.
I do agree.
I can't go on this rant again. I can't go on this rant again.
I mean, it's basically like clockwork. It's every time. So I at least
Collector shows up, I get sad.
Yep.
It's just how it is.
One thing I am, you know, kind of surprised to see is I'm not sure if Sejuani actually typically rushes Protoplasm still, but let me double check that.
Yeah, it does feel like kind of an older build, but it also feels like WoW just felt the need to be online and useful to the team as soon as possible. And in a game like this, when boomers over zoomers are playing such an aggressive early game composition, I can see why you would feel the need to be active as early as possible. And it's a cheap item.
Oh.
Curtain Call. Heals. First shot, second shot miss, third shot miss. 4 does land. Heals loses about half his HP, but with the Blade of the Rune King, we'll be able to sustain up a little bit, but John Marquis really wants to find that one. Flash away from Peels will keep him alive, but there's the aggression we were expecting from the Poppy.
I'm honestly surprised he didn't do that earlier. But
I can't say that you're wrong. I'm surprised too.
They will get another Drake here as a kind of payment here on that ultimate here from Gritty, so
that's so
still looking good for them.
Ocean Soul for Olaf, for Aatrox, for this very aggressive Poppy, when the healing that you get scales
Even
off of your
Malzahar.
offensive stats. Yeah, even Malzahar genuinely. You never run out of mana.
Yeah, the damage over time is just going to keep ticking that Ocean Soul, and it's going to feel pretty good going forward.
We'll take that top lane turret, so an objective bounty over to GG's. But this game is still continuously slipping away from them. They need to find an angle to get something done. They have the Sejuani ult. They have the engage tools that can get them there. It's just a matter of finding and punishing that one mistake that Zoomers will eventually make.
Yeah, I just don't know if they have the damage, though. Like, it's a pretty squishy Aatrox, but even then, Ziggs doesn't do damage that quickly, and with Yunara only at an item and a half, shredding through anyone is going to be pretty difficult here, and you know, especially with Homegrown Talent pretty much deleting anyone who starts the fight unless you engage on him directly, it's just going to be a pretty difficult fight to play out.
Yeah, and with the Spell Shield, it's so difficult to actually get that initial engage. As top lane turret and bottom lane turret are traded another objective bounty over to GG's, but mid lane turret is under siege as well. So GG's do need to find something to do about this Malzahar Jhin that have just parked in mid lane and kind of made their home there.
Yeah, Solbert trying to walk forward. Gritty, no. Just walks away from this one. The long-range engage is extremely good here for GG's, but
exactly,
it's just, do you have the damage to kill on top of it? Not sure.
Homegrown Talent potentially in trouble, but Solbert's the one who is the target. Gritty just hits him with the second shot. We'll trade back. Homegrown Talent ends up falling, but now Fire King and Jean Marquis into the area. 44 potentially brewing, but nobody wants to pull the trigger on it, so it's just mid laner traded for AD carry.
Yeah, that is the mouse flash, so it is at least a good cooldown to get for that play in particular, but really good on Peels to actually be there in time for that play without committing the TP or anything like that. So just good awareness on the map that something will occur soon. So, and you know, good bait by Solbert as well, since you'll take a trade kill at this point in the game. So especially, I believe Mal's had a shutdown as well. So it's just all stacking a little bit near the gold lead. About 5K.
This Poppy's ridiculous. He's going Edge of Night next.
You know, let the Poppy breathe. You know, just
let her do what she got to do, I guess. My God.
This is my highest mastery champion, and I also enjoy a little bit of lethality, Poppy.
Gritty has to be somewhat aware. Should be careful here. Doesn't want to step up too far forward. As Solbert's going to deal a lot of damage over that wall. As Guo will as well. Long range Deadly Flourish lands. Tempo Flash potentially in trouble. And there's that Ragnarok CC immunity. Gritty now on a rampage. Big engage ult used by GG's. That Maokai ult will not be available should this Baron get started up. As Guo now potentially in trouble. There's the suppression, and there goes Guo. Flash over the wall, but double flash back just to make sure that she'll go down. Glacial Prison used, but Fire Ping should just be able to chase this down. One more undertow. A little bit of healing. Sharky pushes her away to guarantee the kill steal. That's a great support player right there.
Yeah, that's peak right there. As we do see them now turn their attention towards the Baron, so it should be pretty free since the jungler is dead, of course. So Ziggs going to be the one trading the turret on the bot side. They know there's nothing you can really do after Ziggs gets some free time like this, so just going to let the objective go and opt for a fight mid. It looks like Fire Ping is going to get taken down.
Oh
but
he found Solbert! He solo kills him out!
Oh,
Fire
no.
Ping will manage to escape the Mega Inferno Ball, not doing enough, but Jean-Marquis healthy enough to just keep this train going! Homegrown talent takes up heals, so in the meantime, the Baron is finished off by Gritty and God's Glory. 7,000 gold is the lead for Boomers, and now with Baron in their pocket, how much more can they get out of it?
yeah, feeling like a little bit of a victory lap in this one. We'll have to see if there's any response for GG's here. It's Guo now. Walks up towards his turret, but you can't really engage on this timer. Z-Struck is now here, but the turret goes down.
Ping does have Ragnarok, but that makes him pretty damn squishy. Jean-Marquis will finish off that kill with the help of Gritty on that fourth shot. Guo has the ultimate available, but does not pull the trigger there. Just not confident that they can finish that one off. The Poppy too scary in the wings. As now we'll look for it. Flash in a straight line. Gritty will get caught out by it, but do they have the damage to finish off? It might be too little too late as now God's Glory is into the back line. Z-Struck will manage to live for just a bit longer, but the burn from the red smite will pick him up, and now God's Glory resetting with the World Ender. Peels getting plenty of damage down on him. The Soul Unbound, the snapback should get up the kill. We'll be able to pick it up. Solberg with the barrier will survive it. Now Homegrown Talent comes in and finishes that one off with the suppression. Messy exchanges, but Boomers come out on top 2 for 3, and they're going to continue their siege with the Baron.
Yeah, crazily enough there, Solbert actually gets bailed out there by Peels flashing back, or, you know, going back to the Soul Inbound, and just a really funny look as Solbert just gets immediately solo killed to start it, so there's just not enough damage onto Fire Ping here, and Peels can't get the job done. Gets taken down as well from just the passive damage here from the Malzahar, and you know, after a long extended play here, they re-look for it with Guo here in the area, but the turret goes down. Fire Ping does get immediately deleted, as you will see in just a second here. Ziggs combos still doing a lot of damage, but, you know, with the chase out coming through, doesn't mean that you do get the kill on the tempo, as we do see a fight here in the picture-in-picture.
The picture-in-picture, Guo taken very low. Jean-Marquis knocks him out with the Keeper's Verdict. Deleted by the hammer. Solbert was sent flying too, forced out of that fight, and it's the Ocean Soul now on the board for Boomers, and with no smite, it just doesn't feel like GG's has a chance to actually come and contest it.
All right, since you know this game's in a pretty interesting state, I'll just say the fun fact, of course, is that because Sejuani was killed by the Poppy ult, that means every time Sejuani's dead body shows up on screen, it will lift up graciously to the skies.
Every time it pops up back up on Vision, you will see her go up and down. Obviously, we can't see it because of the spectator client. It's always in Vision for us, but when they see it, when the Vision toggles for them, they'll see it go up and down. You can try it in any of your games with any knock-up that happens, honestly.
It's just Poppy's knock-up is huge.
Super high, yeah.
Very easy to tell for that one. Feels.
Oh, bad timing from Homegrown Talent, the Unstoppable there. Plenty of damage still coming down, but bad timing again. Gritty in the face of Guo. Eats the Glacial Prison, but will he actually go down? As in the meantime, God's Glory is just doing so much damage. Homegrown Talent, in the meantime, untouched Peels tries to get the ultimate off, but flash away from Homegrown Talent denies the engage. Jean-Marquis in the backline is just doing Poppy things on the backline. Flashes for the stone, but Guo gets the blast cone in time. Will escape back to his base. No Baron buff needed. They've got the Ocean Soul. They're going to start to push into the base and try and end this series in a sweep.
Yeah, we'll end up in a sweep here. A quick one, best of 5 in just a little bit. I mean, pretty much exactly 2 hours on the dot, so definitely making good pace with this one. Guo now going to get taken down as well. Jean Marquez just going to show what has been happening all
Not even necessary. Gritty with the autos comes through. Heals and Tempo Flash here for the base defense. One Nexus turret remaining, but again, it just feels like a foregone conclusion. Peel's trying his best to mount the defense. Solberg here as well. Will get some damage down onto Gritty, but can't finish him off with Fire Pain sitting on his face. The Nexus exposed. Homegrown talent keeping them inside their base as well. Boomers over Zoomers playing with their food a little bit, but this series is over. GG SynGG next. We'll have to go to next season as Boomers over Zoomers are going to advance to the next stage of playoffs.
Yeah, they make it through, and I got to put this in here while we still have them. Gritty, just grittied all over them. That's how it's going to go. In a 3-0 sweep over GG's here in this one. And, you know, I think just a great series here for Boomers over Zoomers. The first game, a little bit sloppy, but, you know, after that, they get their kind of wits among them, and they're able to just kind of sweep through them with some really good play, especially individually, I feel, in this one. Like, it felt like, for the most part, the side of GG's was just kind of outclassed here, as we do see that last final fight here, and how it actually started up as just...
Yeah, as soon as the stun landed on Gritty, I assumed that this fight could go in favor of SynGG.
Look at that.
I thought they might have had a chance, but the silence, the damage from God's Glory as well. This was just a very well-played fight. And when they already had the gold lead, that's just kind of what happens.
Yeah, of course. And, you know, eventually they do chase him out and end up winning this one, but very well played. And it really didn't feel like there was too much of a challenge in this last one. A couple of plays gone wide, but that's how it is in every single game. But, yeah, I got to say, definitely good performances in these last two. And I think that was the biggest thing, is the bot lane was just a massive difference compared to the first game in these in these last two. So it just felt like there was no real coming back from that one. And, you know, that is just how the people crumble from there. And, you know, I got to say also, pretty much everyone played pretty good on that side.
Yeah,
so
obviously throughout the series, I think we can say pretty clearly God's Glory was kind of the deciding factor. I would be willing to give it to homegrown talent as well. These two, in their mid-jungle pairing, were incredibly good throughout all three games, even in times where there was some questionable plays here and there, in game number 1 especially. God's Glory and homegrown talent were showing up clutch every time. I say that, however, my personal series MVP is still Jean Marquis, because I love seeing supports just go absolutely stupid. The Vel'Koz in game 2 was doing so much damage, and they actually played around it being a consistent secondary carry. That's not something you see teams do, and that was really nicely done. Jean Marquis also played it like a secondary carry, was not just roaming around with the ADC as a support, was picking up CS, taking XP. That was good play. I have to give it to the support player because I am one. I can't not see good support play and say, oh yeah, just give it to the mid lane or whatever.
no, it was genuinely really good here from Jean Marquis. We've been saying it both ways. I like the Marquez because it reminds me of a certain YouTuber. Mark, yeah, or Jamark. You know, it could be anything at this point. But I just think solid play. Firepink playing a pretty neutralizing role. Same for Peels, actually. Peels played pretty well as well, but unfortunately a lot of other things going wrong throughout these games here for the sides of GG's, or Go Next, as they're actually called. So it does mean that they will be going pretty quickly out of this tournament here in the quarterfinals. Still nothing to be ashamed of. Quarterfinals.
A quarterfinals appearance you're never unhappy with. That's a solid season performance. That was a really strong showing, I think, especially from Boomers over Zoomers, though. And if you were looking at a potential semifinals matchup with them, I think you're starting to think, what actually is a weakness of this team that we can start to take advantage of? Because while we saw some questionable individual plays here and there, the Boomers cleaned it up pretty quickly, even after making those one or two mistakes that they did make. I think this is a team that we might expect to see in finals, honestly.
That is true. However, I do think they have the much harder side of the bracket just coming into it. Because on the other side, you have Mint Icy versus XSV Jellyfish Jammers, which
who are the other team we expect to see in finals.
Are very good. So they have quite a difficult matchup ahead of them, but also they looked really good today, and I could expect them to take it all the way. But, you know, it's still going to be a hard journey. All the teams that are left now from here are going to be the real all-stars of Vanquisher in this season. So expect good things from here, but definitely a solid, really, really quick performance here for Boomers over Zoomers.
yeah, step on their journey to the finals that they make pretty cleanly. As we're showing off our Titan merch, if you want to go pick any of this up, if you're in the Discord, there will be links available to all of the Titan merch options available to you. They have shirts of all sizes, of all options. You can pick up stickers, you can pick up mugs. I think we still have the Sems autograph mug up there, last time I checked at the very least. All great stuff. I want to thank you all so much for joining us. I've been Butcherbritty. That's been Golden Gad, our producer and observer, Siobhan and Anti, making sure things run as smoothly as possible behind the scenes. Again, we appreciate you all being here so much, and we will catch you next week for the semifinals of the Titan Vanquisher League. Have a good night.